What's good, everyone? Churcheen here. In this video, I want to discuss with you guys seven Dragon Ball spin-offs that I would like to see. Now, obviously, with the recent anime arc in the Dragon Ball Super anime, with the Tournament of Power, it really opened the fact that there exists a multiverse. I know, obviously, since the Universe 6 saga, but yeah, obviously, we have a lot of characters, but even that to keep in mind, if the anime does come back in the near future, they're not gonna have the same amount of screen time, people might desire. So yeah, so let's begin. The first one I can easily really think of at first is Hit. Hit is like this assassin that has the ability to skip time, not you know time travel, but just skip time really. Pretty badass character, awesome design. But it was pretty sad to see that this guy was, beaten by Jiren. I know Jiren of all people, I can understand that, but you know, I do feel like they can really do a lot with this guy, especially considering like, because he's not like a de facto villain. He's basically an assassin. He just does whatever the job people hire him to do you know and he's 1,000 years old, so they can really do like a lot with that because 1,000 years is a long time. And also discuss like his time skip ability. Is that something that he learned by himself? Is that something that has to do with his race, or is that something that someone else taught him? Like, what's up with that? All right. The next one is the Universe Six Hands, or just call it, Planet Sadala, generally speaking. Particularly, Kaba, Khalifa, and Kel. I feel like they can really do a lot with these characters, considering that they also have like similar goals with, the Universe Seven Saiyans, like training to higher power and all that. I mean, they're Saiyans. I feel like this will be very, very interesting because not only do they have like a lot of lore they can share, especially like their planet. It's the equivalent of the planet the Saiyans used to inhabit before conquering the planet Toph, I believe, with the planet Vegeta, and also like King Sadala. Like, how is he like? Because that was definitely one of the burning questions I do have with the anime, and I was kind of sad to see that they didn't really um, do much with that. I think the best way they can handle it, right? So if the anime like does return, they have like a little, maybe like a filler arc or something that, Vegeta or other people, right? They go visit Planet Sadala and do that, and then perhaps introduce like, oh, we're gonna do a spin-off series about these people, and another thing to keep in mind, right? I know as controversial as it is, like how they able to tap into like Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. Um, Except for maybe Kyle, because he kind of did it like through like just rage and all that, which traditionally. But they can do a lot of stuff because keep in mind, right? I feel like they have the ability to really like, change a lot, but also maintaining sort of like you know forgot the word, but like let's say like do they have like any exclusive forms like Super Saiyan God? Does the Super Saiyan God have a different color? Does it require a different set of rules of people to able to achieve the form? Or and also like what happened to their tails? I know they discussed about that, but I really wish that they really break it down more and really talk more about it. But yeah. The next one is the Pride Troopers. These guys are essentially like the Ginyu Force, but for good guys. Now I think this one is definitely, I think, my favorite pick here because I love superheroes, and I feel like this one they can easily do like incorporate comedy and also thriller around there. I'm also talking about more so about Universe 11 because obviously they're superheroes. I'm pretty sure they travel through a lot of planets as shown. So they can show us more so like the environment, how the universe is like you know. This one is definitely has a lot of stuff in there that I do want them to answer and tackle upon more. Like the first one is like Jiren, why did he join the Pride Troopers, or what decisions that led him to join? Something about that. Even give us like more closure because again, as much as I don't like his like backstory, is like so cliche. Like his parents, like they give him a Batman story pretty much. But I still want to see like who is this villain that killed them and killed their people, his parents. Like I really want to know. Like, could it be a retcon or like a plot twist or something? Like, is someone that we really know established? Like I really want to know. I don't like seeing stuff like this that has yet to be answered. Um, but that's definitely something I want to see. And the last thing also is like Belmont, because Belmont is the current God of Destruction for Universe 11 at the time of recording. So it also be pretty interesting to know why did he join the Pride Troopers in the first place, and why he left. Does it have something to do with him becoming a God of Destruction and all that? Who was the previous God, for example? Like it's just a lot of questions. It'll be very very interesting. Well, also fun, thrilling, and yeah, let's go to the next one. The next one, I kind of want to do them have like a limited series. So this is like Jamoshi. He is like this ancient Saiyan god, Jesus, whatever the thing is, but he's pretty much a Saiyan from like the ancient times. I know like when they're like discussing like I think, yeah, Super Saiyan, they kind of showed us as a flashback. This is from like I think this is filler, but it's just something like they kind of been talking about it from time to time, but they don't really like do much about it. And I'm not sure whether this is like an animation error, but like it's crazy. Like I listened two times in two instances that they showed him the way he looks like. He looks exactly like Vegeta. So it's like, is this guy related to Vegeta somehow? Considering like they're like the royal family. I mean, I think it's possible. Don't get me wrong, but I do really want them to like really talk about it more and how the Asian Saiyans were. And I feel like another thing they can incorporate also like the legendary Super Saiyans, because I know in the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie. I know it's not canon, but I feel like they can easily incorporate it considering that Broly's already canon, right? It's like how legendary Super Saiyans appear every 1,000 years, and I feel like they can do that, especially with, like characters like Kyomber, right? How the way like Goku turned Super Saiyan at one time, he got very angry. Like I really feel like they could do that, like discussing about that. And last thing to keep in mind, right? You have to consider that Super Saiyan. I mean, not Super Saiyan. Saiyans used to look like great apes. Great apes is just like how they used to look like, kind of like how humans like have been sort of told to like used to be monkeys, and then they kind of evolve more and more as like as time progresses, and to become like more human-like, similar to like the Saiyans here. So yeah, limited series about this. A lot of interesting lore they can do, and also like the ancient Namek, because how does the Namekians, how are they aware of this all these legends, so like this the same god legends and all that? Like it's yeah, that's definitely a question I really want to know. But yeah, let's move on to the next batch here. Let me just pull it up, and boom. The next list I do want to talk about is also one about Saiyans, but more so at before Frieza killed them all. So I know we have like a good amount of information how kind of Planet Vegeta was like before everything happened, but I feel like it wasn't enough, in my opinion. I do want to give us like a little bit more closure on Bardock, Raditz, because we do see them, but I just feel like it's not enough. And I think that another thing that I also said about the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie is that they had like a lot of more content they would have done, but obviously it wasn't incorporated because of the strict movie time limits. Like I can easily see this spin off about like obviously Bardock, King Vegeta, Paragus, and also like this tweet here I saw that I kind of like learned recently is like Team Bardock is there as well. So, we're actually unsure whether they actually know Bardock or Bardock has worked with them before, or if there is a Team Bardock in this continuity. But it's something that I really want to see. Want to see happen. Um, and also like Kid Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, how would they like give us like like their missions and all that. I don't know. I feel like it'd be pretty fun, and also them traveling to other planets and other species in there. Who knows? All right. So the next characters that I think could really, I feel like this one is probably the most realistic in my opinion, but one about Goten and Trunks. I am aware obviously that they have done like a prequel to the Dragon Ball Superhero, them like in high school, Saiyan Man X1, X2, they're pretty good designs. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's fine. I consider that sort of like an accessory because it's like it doesn't take place too much away from the movie, and we really know what the events happen. Like we know who dies, who who does this and that. Like we already know that. And I don't like that a lot. Like this is just an extra piece, you know. I kind of like want them to have like their actual moment to shine, you know, because the thing about them right in the movie is that they transform to Gotenks again. Now they did mention that they haven't fused as Gotenks in a long time, but I don't know why they didn't bother to turn into Super Saiyan as well. Before Gotenks, you know. Um, because I'm not really a fan of that because they just serving as background characters like in Dragon Ball Super as well. They're just there as background just for the goofs and laughs, you know. Even in the movie, him with like a little a butt joke, like that's funny and all, but like and then like back in like in the around the ending, they did the fusion post, and then they they just didn't show it, you know. Now I if they were to do like a movie, right, per se, I do want them, like I do want the movie to be about them not depending too much on Gotenks, you know. Obviously not them right now because they're still teenagers and all that, but later on, like when they're a little bit more mature, because similar like with Gohan, like in the movie Dragon Ball Superhero, not depending on Goku and Vegeta to be around them to help them and all that. Same for Goten and Trunks, how they shouldn't depend on Gohan or Piccolo or anybody else like Krillin, Android 18, 17 to help them out whenever they're in trouble, because eventually, right, they're gonna have to protect the world. And this is kind of a pattern I see, right? So far with the Dragon Ball Super movies, right, we have seen Goku and Vegeta and Broly, and then the next movie we have Dragon Ball Superhero with Gohan and Piccolo, kind of like passing the torch. So I feel like it makes sense to me that these two guys also gets the torch passed on, and maybe after that, maybe like Pan and Oob, or who else, right? But it just makes sense to me that they do that, and then they learn the lesson that they need to grow, they need to like evolve as their own. Like only use Gotenks when absolutely necessary, because especially in the games they always incorporate Gotenks. I like that, that's fun. I like Gotenks, but it's kind of has become like oversaturated, overused. All right, so the last but not least, the character that I do think deserves to have their own spin-off is Future Trunks, Future Trunks is actually my second favorite character. I do like this guy a lot. I remember when I first watched him, somebody from the future turning Super Saiyan after Goku turning Super Saiyan, like one of the most iconic things in the world. Um, and it happens to be Vegeta's and Bulma's son. Like that's crazy, that's crazy. A lot of stuff they just throw at us, and I'm like, yo, hold on, hold on, we just got to Super Saiyan, now we got this guy turning, you know. Um, Future Trunks is definitely one of the coolest characters. Something about Future Trunks is that he is not like any other Saiyans. Whenever he wants to get the job done, he doesn't waste any time trying to toy with the enemies, transforming, from Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2. Like he goes straight, full power, full power. Now, I did love that he did return to Super, but I was not a big fan of the ending. I think many of you can say the ending where him and Mai go to a timeline where him and Mai already exist. It just doesn't mean that doesn't make any sense. I feel like as a time travel, because I've seen a couple time travel movies, and I do know that like some of the consequences, like if you stay on a timeline where you already exist, I'm pretty sure that's like that has some consequences, like some sort of paradox or something, and I and I just really don't like that a lot, and I really do wish that when this guy gets some sort of spinoff or he returns, because they already made it clear that when Vegeta told him that to never come back. So at the very least, they can do something with him to give us more closure, kind of how like in Breaking Bad, right? Like Jesse, when Jesse like went away with a car, but then he got his own movie, so the audience can really understand and know what actually happened, what he did after that, to give us like more closure. I really want to emphasize that word closure, because it just gives us like really a better idea of how they're doing. And some things I do want them to address, right, is also like this form, for example, Super Saiyan Rage, right? As much as I do love the form, Future Trunks getting his own form and all that, uh, I kind of like the thing I don't like about this form. It's just like so mysterious. It has like no, get me wrong, the aura, the design looks so cool. Like the flashing, no irises here. Oh my god, that was really a badass, dude. But I don't like how the form doesn't really have like any specific like history or anything like that. Like it doesn't. They didn't give us like a definitive answer. Like, is this some sort of like false Super Saiyan Blue with a Super Saiyan? I don't know. Does this have any relation to Gaki? Did him training with Vegeta have something to do with this? It's just a lot of answers just not answered. I really do really want them to answer this. And I think this is also cliche. I saw this on a Twitter post. Like, what if they also incorporate something him with Trunks with time? Because obviously whenever Trunks comes to the plot, it always has to do with time travel. So I know it sounds very cliche and impossible practically if you ask me. Supreme Kai of Time, him becoming a time patroller, something to do with time. I feel like that would have been a much better ending. As much as cliche it would have been, it would have fitted more thematically, you know, because he's living in a timeline where his like with his mom, but he's not the same mom. Like it just doesn't, it's just not the same. It's not the same. Like imagine like you're like a clock or something. Like your grandfather gave you a clock or something. You have so much memories with it, right? But then someone gets you the same replica, the same scratches, the same everything, the same details, but you would still prefer the original because you have more memories with that one, and you don't want to prefer like a copy. That's kind of how I view it here, but yeah, I just not the ending, just not just oh my god, just so unsatisfactory. But yeah, but let me know what you guys think of my list. Do you think are there any other characters you think I should have included here? I was definitely thinking about including like Rebrand from Universe 2. Like I can kind of see them getting a spin-off, but I don't think they're like, I don't know. I just don't really have much to say about them. They're not exactly like I don't consider them a fan favorite. I don't think, but I don't know. But let me know what you guys think. Do you disagree, agree, like, or dislike any of that? Let me know. Check out the links below. Check out my Discord. And as always, guys, stay Churcheening.